What one thing I wanted to get your guidance in terms of, see, for the common person who is finding themselves very unsettled in this whole ecosystem and how it will shape up. Again, millionaires and billionaires and trillionaires are created. There's an opportunity and there's a crisis scenario. So, what is your guidance in terms of, what are the areas where people can focus to, where a millionaire is going to be created over these next 12 months?
First of all, come to India, invest in India, create at least a part of your business empire out of India. India has to be part of your enterprise in one way or other. Whether you are a multimillionaire, billionaire CEO from a commodity space, metal space, you are into space economics, you are into ocean economics, you are a shipping giant, you are a IT company, you are into data analytics, you are into business intelligence, you are into advertising, you are into any form of MNC, whether you are into automobiles, whether you are into social media, whether you are into software, hardware, anything, medical devices. India has to be a very important part of your enterprise, of the next 15 years of your organizational strategy, your geopolitical strategy. If you are a millionaire, multimillionaire, billionaire, understand one thing, that the transition that is coming is not the way you think. For example, there is a very big delusional prophecy going on that there will be a major shift from fossil fuel to clean fuel. Actually, it is not going to happen. Actually, this artificial push towards clean fuel is actually going to bring a lot of pain to a lot of economies who, without studying what this transition will actually mean, are jumping for it. Let me tell you, coal is going to remain relevant not just for next 12 months, but for next 15 years. Coal, oil, petrol, gas, all these conventional fossil fuels are going to remain relevant not just for next 12 months, but for next 15 years. Yes, there will be a transition, but in a very different way than what you think. The transition will be more hybrid. The transition will be more sector by sector, rather than everything and everyone jumping from fossil fuel to clean energy. It will be sectoral shifts. That sector which doesn't consume massive amount of energy and can sustainably shift to clean energy will make that shift. But there will be sectors which require enormous amount of energy. The kind of energy that solar, hydro, even nuclear cannot produce in a very sustainable, in a very high scale manner, gigantic manner. There you will have to rely on conventional sources. Also, these 15 years will be very disruptive for modern set of millionaires, multimillionaires and billionaires. Very, very disruptive. One thing that they can do to secure their wealth for next 15 years is invest in a buffet of financial instruments. Don't try to invest in just one kind of financial instrument. So if you think that, okay, the solution is invest in stocks, that may not be a very good option. There will be very few stock markets in the world which will perform well. And stocks in themselves are not the only financial instrument that needs to be factored in. So it has to be a mixture of stocks, fixed income instruments, bonds, treasuries, but also some innovative investments in passive funds, in actively managed passive funds. Also, invest in some very good angel investing firm, if possible, so that you can invest in good startups. Good startups. Because next 15 years is the 15 years of innovation and disruption. Even the best of the MNC is going to go through a lot of shakeups. And a bunch of new startups will rise up. Only handful of the existing MNCs will continue their dominance or profitability. And this I am saying from a global perspective. If last 15 years has been all about US majorly and somewhat China, the next 15 years will be far more evenly distributed. It will be a multipolar world, not only from geopolitical perspective, but even from the perspective of startups, creation of wealth, geoeconomics, geofinance, geostrategy. And it will be a more equitable world where 5 to 10 countries will have major games, major wealth creation, major say going on. And India will be the most significant story among them. So what today's millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire should do is, they should form very powerful groups, what we call Sangathan MahaSadhana in Bharat. Instead of going with one money manager or 3-4 hedge fund manager, they should be part of an ecology which is the sum total of multiple promising startups, but which also is invested in a buffet of financial instruments. Risk has to be managed very well through diversification. But a unique character will be, one also will require to invest at least once 25 to 50% money in innovation through startups and angel investing. But one also has to be associated and rooted with Bharat, the rising story of Bharat. If India is not an important part of your corporate story, corporate strategy, organizational strategy, whether you are an angel investing firm or an automobile company, whether you are a pharmaceutical company or a mining company, then you are not in for great gains. So these are the few things that needs to be taken into account. And one more thing, there will be major disruptions in Europe, not just demographic, but economic. There will be a stagnation in their economies, and in some of the economies, there will be downfall. Very few sunshine stories. There will be, but very few. And America will not enjoy its last 25 years ever again. America is past its peak. Now all depends on how well America and Europe are able to cooperate with Asia, especially India, and form mutually beneficial economic alliances, alliances of innovation and technology transfer. A lot will also depend on what the political and industry leaders of US and Europe do in next 12 months. So part is destiny, but part will also depend on the decisions taken by the top political and corporate leaders of America and Europe over next 12 months. That can either arrest their decline and the world together can grow. Else, one thing is constant, sure, assured, that is India's rise. Let us be very clear about it. Let Guruji tell one thing, because this is contrary to what the world is saying. And let next 15 years judge Guruji. I'm going to tell this on record. And I am going against the global consensus. 180-degree opposite I am going. Everyone is saying that China is the second biggest power after US. The discussions are in the binary that whether US will remain ahead of China or will China take over, Chinese expansionism, what happens to Taiwan. I'll tell you, China is not only in a state of steady decline, economic decline, decline in terms of innovation and demography. If Chinese people don't take the right decisions over next few years, China may actually end up imploding, because 94% of Chinese people are living in a landmass of 44% and 56% landmass towards the west, Tibet, Xinjiang, houses only 6% of the population. Very few people understand that it is only the eastern coastal China that is growing. Is Tibet growing at the same rate? Is Xinjiang growing at the same rate? Is Inner Mongolia growing at the same rate? If Chinese people continue with Han supremacism, Han Chinese supremacism, then there is a real threat of Chinese implosion. Forget just decline. And over next 15 years, either China will be substantially weaker or a pale shadow of itself. So the best scenario is China declines a little bit. But for that, it will have to evolve spiritually, or it will end up much weaker. People will study its downfall. So this Chinese hype is exactly that, hype. And the most challenging time for China is 2040 to 2060. These 20 years are the worst that China has ever seen in last 10,000 years. Worst. 2040 to 2060 will be the most challenging 20 years in the entire journey of China as a country, as a civilization. And I'm talking about a span of 10,000 years. Now on 14th April 2022, when we are into almost 2 months of war between Russia and Ukraine, how does the cosmic fiber of planet Earth looks like? Okay, so let us understand how the next 10 months will look like, how the next 2 years will look like, how the next 10 years will look like, and what all will be the key geopolitical contours of it. The slow decline, the gradual, incremental, but slow decline of US as a geopolitical power, of Europe as a geopolitical power, are going to restructure the present world order in a very transformational manner. And a new world order will rise. A multipolar world order will rise, where Bharat, India and Indian Ocean region will play the role of an effective coordinator, facilitator, and hence world leader along with its brother nations like Japan, Australia, France, Israel, Vietnam, and few more countries in the world, US has embarked on a journey of very slow but consistent decline. The best that US can hope for itself over next 10 years is to selflessly, with a pure heart, ally itself strategically with Bharat and ensure that this slow decline of US doesn't cross the red line for US. If US rediscovers, remolds, reinvents itself as a true, honest, pure, strategic partner of Bharat, working together with Bharat for the betterment of the entire world, then the slow decline of US may not be that harmful. Else, the decline of US will be quite shocking over a span of next 25 years.